lurking out on the foggy bottom swamp. There is a cesspool they call the press pool. Every time they get the story wrong, guess they consider that successful. Forgive us if we're doubtful of everything they said. We're the news now until the fake news is dead. You make them repeal, make them repeal, make them repeal Smith-Mundt modernization. In 2012, our Congress passed a bill that legalized propaganda. It's what you're watching on the evening news. If you didn't get the memoranda. And first it was the Russians, and then it was Ukraine. When are we gonna see some justice, see some pain? You make them repeal, make them repeal. You make them repeal Smith-Mundt modernization.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to ResearchRoadshow.com. Today is March 19th, 2023, and we let off this episode with this episode of News Others Miss with Cleveland's great jazz artist Harry Bacharach playing Make Them Repeal the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012. Now, that is going to become one of our 5 theme songs for the next couple months here at Research Roadshow, because Smith-Mundt modernization is one of those topics that everyone in Georgia, everyone in Illinois, everyone in California, and above all, in Ohio should be talking about, but no one is talking about it. Why not? Well, you can thank the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012 that legalizes propaganda by the government. Okay, let's go back to Harry's website. Let's pick up with the Eugene Yu trial briefly. As we said a few days ago, on March 14th, there was another hearing. Judge Amy was pretty much satisfied with both sides. She said the people of California, the people of Los Angeles County, are very close to compliance with her previous requests. So kudos to Mr. Luke Cizak and his team for all of their work on the case so far, especially getting those servers opened, the Connect servers. Let's bring up Harry's website. One of the things that this case, Eugene Yu trial in the Superior Court of Los Angeles, and the True the Vote versus Connect case brought to the forefront was this idea that voter data could be going overseas. And it doesn't really matter which country. The important thing is that it's going overseas, it's out of your control, and it shouldn't even be going out of state or out of your county, really. And so one of the organizations that was called into question was this ERIC. ERIC stands for Electronic Registration of, let me pull up in just a second. Stands for Electronic Registration of Information Center. And it's supposedly a nonprofit, but it's a strange kind of nonprofit because it has backing from a lot of foreigners, from very wealthy individuals in Europe, a couple in the Middle East, and in other parts of the world. Now, if you dig a little bit, you'll see that ERIC is not really a nonprofit, and well, to make a long story short, 33 states participate in this. Well, various counties from 33 states participate in ERIC. Not many voters know about it. I did not know about it until about 10 days ago when Harry the Greek told me about it. Even Harry, up until 2 or 3 weeks ago, did not know what ERIC was. And that's saying something because Harry has been on this topic of election integrity for 35 years. So a couple days ago, to be precise, I think it was on March 15th, the state of Ohio, in first person, Frank LaRose, decided to pull out of ERIC. And one of the possible explanations, the most likely explanation, is that thanks to Harry the Greek broadcasting this message of ERIC, of ERIC being involved in some of the election non-integrity, thanks to that message getting out, pressure was put upon certain members of Frank LaRose's staff, and they had to elevate the issue to the point that Frank LaRose himself had to get up and announce, yes, we are involved with ERIC. Yes, it is a nonprofit, but not exactly. And yes, we are going to get out. So he was taking a step back. This is a victory. And this is exactly the kind of victory that citizen journalists and citizen investigators and historians need more of. Thanks again. My heartfelt thanks to Harry the Greek for his reporting on this, and for the precious few others in the United States who are looking at ERIC. Ohio becomes, I think, the 6th or 7th state to pull out of ERIC, and we need more of this. So please, everyone who's talking about election integrity, everyone who's concerned that your vote matters and we have to protect the vote and we have to make sure that elections are fair and that there's no tipping of the balance, get them to start talking about ERIC and the parties behind ERIC. Which stateside and foreign entities helped create ERIC and for what purpose? Okay. Did these people have any relationship to Connect or to CITL? And we covered CITL in the past 5 episodes. I hope if you haven't seen those, please go visit them and please communicate to your friends and neighbors the importance of CITL, the importance that voters in your county need to know about CITL and CITL's backers and CITL's connection to Bacharach. You probably heard about Bacharach in the news the past 5 weeks. Bacharach is going to come up again and again in the next few weeks as we see more and more of Mother Nature's disasters happening. And more land and private property being transferred over to Bacharach and her cohort. Let's go back to Harry's website for a second. Can anyone in the chat tell me how my sound is? I don't want to repeat what I did 3 weeks ago and go for 20 minutes without sound. All right, so let's bring up a related case, that of Judge Amy. As you know, in the Eugene Yu trial, Judge Amy is currently the presiding judge over the matter. And she was the one who told both sides in the February 23rd hearing to go get their act together because she was not at all satisfied. Okay, so here is a picture of Judge Amy. And let's open up the site, the web page. This story is from yesterday. Harry's cranking them out almost one a day now. And each one of Harry's stories takes a lot of work, many, many phone calls to a number of states and counties. So here we have, now this is the case number LA for Los Angeles, CBA 509-784-01. Defendant name Eugene Yu. His birth name is Jiang Wang or Jian Yang. But in any case, the trial is ongoing and it is picking up steam. Don't listen to the other pundits that say this case has gone away. Eugene Yu has already left the country and they've given back his $500,000 bond. That's not at all true. There were 7, as we pointed out. Rick Olson was in the courtroom 3 days ago at the Clara Shortridge Justice Center, and there were 7 new attorneys present. Rick believes they were from Sacramento or some other kind of government, a group of government lawyers. That is significant. But what I really wanted to get into here is the part about the Homeland Security. Now, there she is. Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Armenui Amy Ashvanian. What's more and more curious about this, and hats off to Greg Clark up in Lansing, Michigan. The Department of Homeland Security is very much aware of this case. Some have speculated that Eugene Yu may have even worked for Department of Homeland Security at one point as a contractor, where we haven't seen, and Harry has not found any concrete evidence of that, but it's not to be ruled out yet. The Department of Homeland Security is very much watching this case because it is going to become, if there's human readable data on those servers, then it has implications for a lot of people in Ohio, including Frank LaRose's superiors. It has many implications for people in Michigan, above all, where Connect was based. It has, there are going to be several big lawsuits, major lawsuits coming out of the data on these servers. Why is Homeland Security so interested in this? Because we are seeing, as a follow-on to the January 6th event of 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, they are trying very hard to paint a picture of people who really love America and want to see a return to the norms and traditions of the old America. Those people are being painted as some kind of terrorist. If you love your country, if you tell the truth, you are some kind of terrorist. So citizen journalists, such as Rick Olson, they're trying very hard. The powers that be in America and in Europe are trying very hard to paint citizen journalists as some kind of terrorist. And one piece of evidence, I'm sure many of you have heard the name James O'Keefe, and I'm not criticizing James O'Keefe. I think he did very good work in 2019, 2020. I question a little bit exactly his strategy of the past 3 or 4 months. But one thing that he said that makes me scratch my head is that he thinks all citizen journalists should wear a lapel pin camera and take undercover video without the other party or party's knowledge. That is very concerning to me. I'm only speaking for Research Roadshow, not Neighborhood News or any of the other channels in our network. But for Research Roadshow, that is not going to happen. We will not wear undercover cameras, and we will not share any videos or audios from such cameras. We believe in the power of the cell phone. Remember that everything that George Webb has done the past 5.5 years has been with a cell phone. And the people being filmed know that they're being filmed. Integrity in other parts of government depends heavily on integrity in the journalism. The journalist has a moral obligation to present not only the core nuggets of the information that he wants to present, but he has to present the way in which that information came about. That cannot be he cannot leave doubts, as some people are beginning to doubt with the Jordan Walker video, whether it might have been staged or not. There can be no doubt. And Julian Assange, to his great credit, showed that if the integrity, the truthfulness, the context of a single article is questioned, then all 12 million articles or all 12 million documents that you obtained, their integrity is also questioned. And so it's fundamental to everything that we do in this network that the first 12.8 million documents obtained by WikiLeaks were never challenged by any county, state, provincial, or federal government anywhere. Because Julian he maintained this discipline, rigorous discipline on making it possible for the viewer to understand that this document was real. So now I'm going to wrap up the episode talking about excuse me for a second. I'm going to talk about the issue of going back to Ohio again, about what kind of battle we're fighting and why we have to help young people to understand where the battle lines are drawn, what the rules of engagement are, because if we don't, then they are going to be the ones fighting the hot war, whether that's in North Korea or Iran, it doesn't matter. We are going to see a lot of young people die worldwide if we do not win this information war. So, as you recall, I said a few weeks ago, I think that was during a Zoom meeting, Citizens Intel, that in 1705, most educated people in the world pretty much knew that there was a battle going on, a battle to improve the lot of the human species. And there were two major camps, at least in Europe. The first major camp was pretty much sold on the idea that it was through a Christian mindset, a Christian approach to earthly problems, to economical problems, to problems of resource usage. It was a Christian mindset that would lead humanity into a kinder, gentler world. And the other major group, was those who believed that through controlled experiment, by understanding how the human being worked, by getting at the nitty-gritty details of human nature, that they could somehow add to, perhaps with something like a computer. And there were analog computers way back then, with some kind of mechanical superstructure. They could coerce the human being to behave better. It's always about behaving better, to become kinder, gentler, etc. We've come to a head. We've come to a decision point. We knew this moment was coming. I forget his name now. Jared Netter has been talking a lot lately about the workplace of the future and how we're going to have mainly robots working in the large companies, and human beings will be partners with the robots. Okay, they will not command the robots; they will be the robots' partners. How does this relate to News Others Miss and Research Roadshow? Because we've known for 300 years that this moment was going to come about. And the people on the side of science, that a scientific, benevolent dictatorship was the way to go, at least in the short term, for the next 60 or 70 years. They have been winning. You could easily argue that since 1958, the group that wants a scientific, benign, benevolent dictatorship worldwide has been making has won battle after battle, mainly through war. War is a very good business model, and every war helps bring down the human species, at least in the two combatant countries. Now, what Harry has done with ERIC, Electronic Registration Information Center, by exposing the ties between the election officials in every county and state, and the biological entities, the heads of Pfizer, Wellcome Trust, Merck above all. We're not talking enough about Merck. By showing the connection between the election officers, the electoral process, those who oversee the electoral process, the Carter Center, for example, here in Atlanta, and their biological brothers or cousins up in Big Pharma. By exposing the hundreds of linkages between those two groups, we can begin to get people back to discussing what the real issues are today. And I know the East Palestine, apologies to the 3 subscribers who I offended saying that East Palestine wasn't a big deal. I know it's a huge big deal. I have many nephews living in that area, that part of Ohio. I know that the disaster in East Palestine is a major incident. We have to bring people, especially Pete Buttigieg, who took 3 weeks to get there. But the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act is even more important. FASA 56 is even more important than East Palestine. We have to get the people talking about the issues that really matter, starting with who makes decisions like ERIC. I mean, who decides whether my state or my county participates in all of these phony nonprofits, right? To do that, once we start the discussion, then people can start actually going in groups and doing what Harry did for almost 30 years. That is going to the precinct, going to the county in question, and going 3, 4, 5 days in a row, waiting for the right moment for a VIP to come out of his office, and even if it's 8 p.m., and say, "Mr. VIP, can you explain this to me because I'm doing a story on it?" That is hard work. And right now, people all over the country who talk about, yes, I want election integrity. Yes, I don't want to see so many kids getting cancer. That's the real question. Are you willing to do the work to go day after day, or with 2 or 3 of your friends, to do the hard work, starting with the journalism part of it? How bad do you want it? Do you want to see a better world? Then put on your sneakers, get out your pen and paper and your cell phone, and do the work that's required. Thanks for listening to me, and please subscribe to this channel, to Harry's channel. In the description below, I put the information for Harry Bacharach's for the title song, Make Them Repeal, Smith-Mundt. And I put Harry's website. I put a link to Greg Clark's Facebook account. Please, everybody, do your best to share the information in this video. The video is not so great because I'm under a time constraint, and I'm a little, you can see I'm a little nervous today. But the information contained herein, please share it. And if people have questions, relay their questions to me. My email is research.roadshow.5@gmail.com. Any day now, Gmail is going to probably freeze my account. In that case, I'll open a new one called research.roadshow.6@gmail. Please share this information. Have a good rest of the weekend. And please smile. It drives the AI crazy.